Unless any government, this is purely non-party political, addresses the issue of local government financing, of where the money is going to come from in 5, 10, 15, 20 years' time, because we have a declining council tax base, we have a central government funding formula, frankly, that is declining by the hour almost. There is no real agenda on how cities can raise their own cash, on how they can develop the fiscal freedoms enjoyed by competitors in mainland Europe and the USA.
Less than 1/5 of the council's revenue budget is raised through council tax. The rest comes from government grants and other funding handed out through formula, which are often changed seemingly at the stroke of a ministerial pen. Yet probably about what 90% of the council does is required to be done by acts of parliament. And so as a consequence, when government funding is cut, real people suffer, buildings close and services reduce. And there is a broken relationship between income on the one hand and expenditure on the other. Local government has simply become local administration of many national initiatives. And what we need to do is regain that sense of radicalism and independence in decision making. Unemployment in Newcastle is caused by a complex mix of barriers to opportunity, poor health, poor housing, poor skills, job insecurity, an underperforming economy. And although other parts of the country have similar symptoms, the causes of those symptoms are not necessarily the same. You won't find the same mix of challenges in, say, Derby or Brighton or Cardiff as you do here. That's why these challenges require local solutions, tailored to the needs of our local individuals and communities. Cities are at the forefront of social and environmental and economic change, and we've led the way on everything from manufacturing technology to public health. And cities can also be the engines of growth, but to do that, we have to be freed from the shackles of government control in order to reach our potential. And there's an undeniable need to break free of our overdependence on London as the focus for the UK's economic activity. It's resulted in an unbalanced and fractured economy. All of us as big cities have the potential to contribute, but to do that, we need the flexibilities and freedoms to play our part.
Now, in Newcastle, we're often portrayed as being highly critical of the current government. And actually, that's fine. We're proud to stand up for the city and the region when we think our people are not getting a fair deal. But what's perhaps less reported and less recognised is that Leader, myself and others have been investing a lot of time and effort in building a constructive dialogue with government, helping to shape the future policy on places and public services. Now, sometimes that means getting up really early to go to London, and we all know what that's like, but increasingly we've been getting more civil servants to come and visit Newcastle and see for themselves how public service reform can be driven locally and what the government needs to do to help us accelerate that. And on that point, we're having an ongoing dialogue with Treasury alongside other core cities about the case for more financial freedoms for places and about how we can more effectively tailor national programmes like the Work Programme to local circumstances through a shared accountability framework. Now, we're far from over the line on these discussions, but from my own personal experience in Whitehall, regular contact with the Treasury is a good thing on many levels. And this has to also be seen within the context of the Scottish referendum debate. We've been very careful to avoid any view in the yes or no within the debate, and I would certainly not want to predict the result. But for some time, through ANEC and the core cities, and individually with Scottish cities, we've been having discussions with the government about the impact of the Scottish referendum on the North East. And I think it's important to say that the vote in September is only the beginning of a process, and whatever the outcome, there will be changes for the North East that we need to be part of the dialogue in shaping those changes.
Cities matter. They're a small proportion of the land, but they're where most people live, they're where most people work, and they are generating value. So we have to make the most of them. And we have to make the most of them, not just because it matters in the UK, but because this is a global agenda. And because the way that we do business has changed. Cities matter not because people think they're a good thing, but because actually they're a great place to do business. Businesses get more customers there, they get access to more skilled workers, they get access to lots of ideas. That's the place that you go to exchange ideas. And they're also fantastic places to experience culture, to share ideas with people, to have a good time. Cities have to go cap in hand to Whitehall for transport funding. You have housing policies that are nationally designed and so don't take into account that some places desperately need more houses. Other places need certain types of housing. Other places still just need to refurbish, renovate and knock down some houses. Different issues in different places, and national policies don't take that into account. And in a world in which there's limited money, in which you need innovation for economic growth, for public services, to tackle some of the really challenging issues of deprivation, this can't last. The big things happen locally. A lot of the decisions happen locally. A lot of the things that you know what will make a difference, that's local. And the more freedom and powers you have to do that, the better.
How should we think about the city? Well, economists think about the city in terms of agglomeration, the concentration of economic activity. Underpinning that are all sorts of economic ideas about increasing returns, knowledge spillovers. What they see the city as is essentially a structure for economic growth. That's what they see it as. But I don't think about the city like that. I'm interested in the ways they think about the city, but I don't think about the city like that. It's important to be aware that's the way they think about the city, because those ideas filter into the mindset of decision makers, particularly in Whitehall. The principal task we face in our society, in our region, in our city now, is addressing this ever-widening inequality. To do that, we need not only to understand the economic impacts of a more unequal city and a more unequal country and a more unequal world, but also we need to think about it in terms of the kind of care we need to give to our cities in order to prevent these developments from worsening. Thank you very much.